into your job, the nonprofit world, knowing that you really wanted to make a difference. And rather than doing that most days, do you go to meetings, respond to emails, and deal with the crisis of the day, and really never connect to that deeper purpose as much as you'd like to? That's not okay, because when you're there, you're probably living in survival mode. And today we're going to talk about how to get out of that constant survival place so that you can do the meaningful work you were meant to do. Hey, my dear, I am leadership development coach Kathy Archer, and I help women leaders enjoy impactful leadership because I really do believe that living in survival mode is not going to help you make the impact you desire. That you have to get out of that crazy place so you can do the work that you were meant to do and enjoy life. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to get out of that survival mode so you can do the work you were meant to do. Before we get going, I'm going to share this over into my Confident Women Leaders community. If you are not a member of the community, you can click the link. I've got it in the notes and you can join. Here's what I know about leadership. It's lonely. And most women in nonprofits have little support or guidance or coaching or just other women to talk to. In the Confident Women Leaders community, we're creating a network of women who support each other as we learn, grow, and develop together. So I hope that you will join us there. So give me a second. And I'm going to share this over if I'm on the right page. Hopefully I am. Here we go. Just a sec. Share into the group. Confident Women Leaders community. Sharing. Posted. Done. All right. So survival mode. Survival mode is when you say to yourself, oh my God, just get me through this day. Just get me through this meeting. If I can just make it through this proposal writing process. As soon as we're done accreditation, things will change. That fundraising's coming up. And as soon as we're done that big fundraising event, then things will settle down. But they never do. And we spend most of our time just trying to get through things. And that's not a fun place to be. And it's not effective either. When you're in survival mode and you're barely hanging on and you're always afraid you're going to drop something, your team knows that and they feel that. They don't feel supported by you. They don't feel, they're probably in survival mode too. They're just trying to sort of keep their finger on the pulse all the time as well. And it creates this work culture that people are really seriously just running from one fire to the next crisis day after day after day. And you do that urgent work, but you often never get to the important work. And that's what we want to talk about today, is how do you get to that important work? Last week, we talked about the mindset that you're in. When you're living in survival mode, what many women get to the point of believing is, I'm not cut out for this job. Obviously, if I'm this stressed, this overwhelmed, this burnt out, struggling so much, I must not be cut out for the job. And so we talked last week about shifting from that fixed mindset where I can't grow, I can't develop, I don't know anything different, I'll never be good at leading, I'll never be good at Excel, I'm not good at asking for money, changing that fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Today, we're going to expand on that mindset, that belief that you have that is kind of getting you in trouble and keeping you stuck. So if you're stuck and you're stuck in survival mode, one of the things that I've been sort of harping on you is this one belief about hope and hope without action. And so that's the first thing I want you to think about. There's three that I'm going to cover, three mindset shifts that I want to talk about here. But it's hope. It's like, oh my God, please let this person quit. Please let this person stop being such a painful employee. I wish my boss would give me more support. I want to take that training and I hope that the money just shows up for it in the budget. And we do a lot of this wishing, hoping, praying, pleading, begging, and yet we're not taking the action necessary. We're not sort of saying, okay, what can I do about this? And so that's the shift that I want you to take, is starting to think, is what action can I take? The second thing we do is we lay blame. So it's just the sector. We've got no money in the sector. I can't grow and develop myself. If I had money to hire an assistant, things would change. If we weren't always struggling with staffing issues. And we lay the blame out there for what's happening in here and in our organization. And yes, absolutely, there's a lot going on, and there are some factors that we have to take into place. Most nonprofits struggle with funding. Most nonprofits don't have a ton of time for their leader and support for the leader. Most nonprofits are short on a budget for staff development. Those factors are true. But if you stay there and believe that's it, you're not going to get out of that survival mode. You're not going to get back to doing the passionate, impactful work that you were meant to do. And so you have to shift from blame to responsibility. What can I do? Where can I take a role? So if you go from hope to action, blame to responsibility, then you start thinking about, what is it that I can learn? What do I need to do to grow and develop myself? Maybe it's more time management skills. Maybe you want to have better control of your emotions during meetings. Maybe you wish that you could deal with staff conflict better, or grow your staff, and maybe you're struggling with, how do I discipline my staff? All of those things. And it's like, I don't know, I'm just kind of floundering, and I'm just going to hope that the meeting goes well. I'm just going to pray that this conversation turns out the way I want it to. And you kind of, you push your way through your days, or you drag your way through your days, rather than confidently move through your days. And just think about that for a minute. If you're constantly feeling weighed down by the stress, the anxiety, the doubt, the hesitation, that sort of, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know how, to manage these conflicts. I don't have anybody to ask. I don't have any support. I don't know what to do. If you're weighed down by that, well, everybody else knows it. They can feel it. They don't feel your confidence. Instead, they feel your tenseness. They feel your irritation and irritability, and they sense your doubt and your fear and your hesitation. And so if you're moving through your days like that, you're not creating a climate in your organization where people trust you, believe you, are inspired by you, are motivated by you, are encouraged by you. You want to make that flip, that switch. You have to roll your shoulders back. You've probably heard me say this before. Do some power posing, boost your confidence, and sort of say, okay, where can I take responsibility? Where can I learn to manage my time better without worrying about, I have to wait for funding. I have to wait for my boss's approval. I have to wait for the right time, to sort of shift and move forward. And what happens is, most of us, again, we hope without action. We take blame without responsibility, or we blame without being responsible. And then what we do is we randomly take training or courses or books, kind of whatever shows up. So often it's, quote, the flavor of the month that your sector or your field is offering. Everybody's taking mental health first aid. Great, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. Nothing wrong with that. You probably need mental health first aid for your organization. But there's other things you also need. And if you're randomly taking training, sort of piecemeal here, there, and everywhere, it's really hard to develop the skills that you specifically need to be a better leader, to feel more confident in your role, to have the impact with the staff you want to have, to create the engagement on the team that you want to create. If you want to do those kind of things, there's some specific things that you need to learn. And all of us are different. Not everybody needs conflict resolution skills. Not everybody needs to learn assertiveness. Some people need to have a better understanding of their values and know what it means to be in integrity or out of integrity. Some people need to learn more about self-care so that they're more, their bodies are better able to handle the stress of it, and they're better able to stay composed during a meeting. Some people need to learn more about, what is leadership? How is leadership different than management? There's so many things that you need to learn as a leader, but you need to figure out what your thing is. And if you're randomly just kind of filling in with whatever sort of pops into your space, you're missing the focused training and development that you need. And if you're waiting for your organization or your boss to help you with that, then it's probably never going to happen. One of the studies around leadership development that I was reading last week was talking about the fact that most leaders are not getting performance appraisals. And their recommendation was that you as a leader need to lead that process. You need to talk to your board about your needs and help them with the process. You need to search and go out and find the tool. So right now I'm working with 2 leaders and we're working through the leadership circle profile, which is a 360 assessment. Both of those leaders took responsibility for that. They came to me, they researched, they looked and said, how do I get some feedback from my team? My board members aren't skilled at doing that. If you look at your board, most people on your board, not all the time, but a lot of people on your board come in because they care about the work and they want to give back. But they aren't necessarily HR experts, or they're not leaders themselves, or they don't know anything about budgeting. I mean, everybody has their specific skill, but often on your board, there isn't somebody who's really strong at pulling together the feedback you need for a 360. And quite frankly, sometimes it's not their role either. Depends on what kind of a board you have. And so you need to lead the process in creating your feedback, your 360, your performance appraisal, your evaluation, whatever you want to call it. You need to lead that process. So it starts with shifting from that fixed mindset, I can't grow, I can't develop, to I can. Okay, but then you get stuck in, but how do I do it? And you hope that something will show up. So take that hope and turn it into action. Okay, what do I need to do? And then don't blame your sector, don't blame your boss, don't blame your board, don't blame your staff, don't blame anybody. Flip it around and go, okay, I get it that there are factors, but how do I, within all of the context that I'm working in, how do I still grow and develop? And then shift it from that random to, okay, I'll just take whatever training I can and I'll just, throw everything into my schedule. Slow it down a little bit and go, what do I need to learn? And then get really focused on that. So move from that random training, random growth and development to more focused. Where is it that I need to go? And so what I want you to do is create a curriculum mindset. I want you to kind of go, okay, what are the strengths I have that I want to leverage more? Where are the areas for growth? What are my values? What is it that I want to work on? Where am I going in my career? Not just in this organization, but where do I want to go? Then I want you to go, okay, here's some areas that I want to work on in the next 3 months. What do I need to do to get that information, gain that skill, practice that mindset, that way of being? What do I need to do? Where am I going to get that? Where am I going to fit it into my schedule? How am I going to do all of that? That's a curriculum mindset. That's going, okay, I can't wait for somebody to give me the perfect training. There are tons of resources out there. You're going to see in my blog this week that I share 15 resources to help you grow and develop as a leader, and many of them are free. We'll often say in the nonprofit sector that there's not sector-specific training. There are crap loads of sector-specific trainers out there giving you tons of free content. So in this week's blog, I'm going to share a bunch of that. And then there's paid training that's not that expensive as well that you can go and get. It's when you wait for somebody to tell you to do that, when you sort of use the excuse that I don't have time, nobody's supporting me, there's no money, and you hold yourself back from learning, growing, and developing. And that's what most women are doing in the nonprofit sector. Is they're sort of, not most women, a lot of women, the ones that are making the difference, the ones that are shifting and getting out of survival mode, getting back to that passionate work, are the ones that say, okay, I want to take responsibility for my growth and development. I want to be responsible. I want to be intentional about it, and I want to grow and learn and develop. And that's what you need to do. Take the hope. Hope is incredibly important, but attach some action to that. Shift the focus from, looking out there saying, I can't do it because of all that, to saying, I can do it and I'm going to take responsibility. And then instead of doing the random training, whatever shows up, get really focused, create that curriculum mindset, look at what is it that I need to learn, how am I going to learn it, and where am I going to learn it from, and when am I going to do it? That's a curriculum mindset. If you want some help with that, this month's webinar inside of the training library, you can purchase it separately as well, is all about creating your personal and professional curriculum. And it's your personalized curriculum for leadership development and growth. And that's the important thing, is that you look at going, okay, I'm not the same as the nonprofit leader down the street. I'm not the same as the one sitting across the hall from me. I have my own unique strengths. I have my own unique challenges. I have my own unique style, and I need to learn in my own way. How am I going to do that? That's your personalized curriculum for leadership growth and development. And that's what I want you to develop. So if you want some help with that, I've put the link in the notes. Every month inside of the training library, I do a webinar. And so that's this month's training inside the library. Like I say, you can also purchase that separately if you want. So here's what I know. Many women in nonprofits are feeling that isolated and alone, and they wish they had a guide or a mentor for them, but they don't believe that they can afford it. They don't believe that their organization can afford the coach or the mentor. They don't believe that they can afford it. So inside of the training library, you find access to affordable ongoing leadership development training and an executive coach at your fingertips. That's me. And when you do that, you shift from feeling stuck and isolated and alone to knowing you have the resources available to you and feeling supported. So the training library is an ongoing membership site that gives you the ongoing leadership development and access to a coach that you need. The link is in the notes for that as well. So that's what I want you to do today, ladies, is if you want to get out of survival mode, if you want to re-engage with the passionate, purposeful work that you were meant to do, then do the work to take responsibility back and intentionally create your curriculum for personal and professional development. That's what's going to ditch survival mode and help you get back into thriving in both your leadership and life. Go make the rest of your day awesome, my dear.